So during the COVID-19 crisis, the OPR was reduced to a historical low of 1.75% to lend support to the economy. The unprecedented conditions that warranted the significant monetary support then have since abated. So if you recall, in the last press conference and also in my forward for the EMR 2021 that was released on the 30th March, I mentioned that adjustments to the OPR would mean that we are sure of a firmer growth trajectory. Indeed, we are seeing more evidence of growth being on a firmer footing amid the strengthening of domestic demand, better labour market conditions, and improved investment activity and prospects. As such, the MPC decided on Wednesday to begin reducing the degree of monetary accommodation by raising the OPR to 2%. The adjustments will be made in a measured and gradual manner. Most importantly, I wish to emphasize that our stance remains that monetary policy will continue to be accommodative to support a sustainable economic growth in an environment of price stability. In terms of future changes to the OPR, if the positive growth trajectory continues and barring any unexpected shocks, it would be appropriate for the MPC to further reduce the degree of monetary accommodation. So the MPC, ultimately the aim of the MPC is to ensure that the OPR and the degree of monetary accommodation commensurate to the health of the economy. But the path, that means the timing and the pace and extent of the increases, would of course be guided by our ongoing assessment of the economy. So we will continue, the MPC will continue to closely monitor incoming information and developments that could materially change the baseline projections, as what we have always been doing all this time. So I must also stress that it is very important that we calibrate our monetary policy gradually now to avoid having to be aggressive down the road, which is the case in other central banks that are coming out from very low policy rates. So any adjustment, let me again reiterate what we had mentioned in the NPS, any adjustment would be measured and gradual to support a sustainable economic growth while ensuring price stability. So turning on to your questions, adjustments to OPR affects both depositors and lenders, borrowers alike. So while the higher OPR may affect the borrowers through higher loan repayments, it will also benefit savers via higher deposit returns. So the higher deposit returns will also encourage savings for individuals to rebuild their financial buffers, which have been impacted from the COVID-19 crisis. So, but at the same time, we do recognize that there could be some pockets of the household would require assistance. And targeted loan repayment assistance is still there. Borrowers have multiple channels to engage with either the banks or the KPK to work out, a much more workable loan repayment schedule that will meet their financial circumstances. And we also have, the Negara funds that are still available that will assist, SMEs in this targeted segments. So when we reduce the OPR to historical low, the analogy that I would like to have is, when someone gets COVID. When someone gets COVID, sometimes they enter the ICU, right, and they require a lot of assistance. And that was the case of the economy. At the height of the pandemic, the economy required unprecedented support, and that was why OPR was reduced to such historical level. But when the patient recovers, and gets out of the ICU, they may not be in the pink of health, but they still require assistance. They require rehabilitation. They require physio. They require rest. And some of them would be painful, but at the same time, this kind of treatments will help the patient get better. And the same thing goes to the OPR also. So the OPR needs to be recalibrated with the realities on the ground. And what are the realities on the ground? The economy is on a firmer footing. There's improvements in the labor market. So it is appropriate for us to recalibrate the degree of monetary policy accommodation. The another analogy that I would like to perhaps share is about a car going uphill, and that was akin to where the economy was. So when your car is going uphill, what you will do, you press on the accelerator and not press on the brake, right? But when you reach the peak of the hill and the car is about to accelerate, you don't keep on pressing on the accelerator. Then that will be disastrous. So what we will need to do then is to hit on the brake and take your foot off the gas pedal. It's the same thing when it comes to the OPR, the degree of monetary accommodation. It needs to be recalibrated with the conditions in the economy. And the conditions in the economy is something that we will continue to monitor to make sure that, again, there's appropriate calibration of the monetary policy with the economy, and for us to continue to promote economic sustainable growth in an environment of price stability.